Hello, good morning, everybody. I think that it's still morning in the same region. And be welcome to the BIPM workshop on fair digital data. Today, we have three interesting sessions. In the first session, we shall listen to representatives from the different regional metrology organizations who tell us what are they doing in their regions concerning digital transformation in metrology and in digital metrology and fair data. We may say that the RMOs constitute the backbone of the metrological community worldwide. For instance, they began to play a relevant role since the signature of the CIPM MRA about 20 years ago, among other works. Nowadays, the RMOs are working hard in order to face the challenges of the new metrology, the digital metrology, and digital data. Their priorities and degrees of advance are diverse, but undoubtedly the possibility of sharing their experiences will be very useful for all of us. In the first talk, Dr. Takashi Suda, representing APMP, will talk us on APMP and digital transformation. APMP is the Asia Pacific Metrological Program, and Dr. Usuda is the General Director of the NMI in Japan, and he is the Vice President of the Advanced Industrial Science and Technology Board. Also, he is Secretary of the CIPM. Previously, he has served within the CIPM as the CCAUV and CCPR President. His academic background covers MEMS sensors, vibration and acoustic measurement, photometry, interferometry, among other fields. Then, Dr. Vakulu Mukufi will give a presentation on behalf of the president of AFRIMET, the Africa Metrological Organization, who is not able to be here. Dr. Mukufi is the CEO of the NMI of South Africa, NMI SA. Then we shall listen to Dr. Pavel Niesmakov from COMET, the Europe and Asia Metrological Organization. Dr. Niesmakov will talk about COMET vision on metrological e-infrastructure. Professor Niesmakov is the General Director of the National Scientific Center Institute of Metrology in Ukraine. He studied radioelectronics and has a PhD in standardization, certification, and metrology. He is a CIPM member and its representative in the JCGM Working Group 2, responsible for the VIM. Also, Dr. Niesmakov is chair of the CCU Working Group in core metrological terms and the vice president of COMET, chairperson of COMET TC4 Information and Training, and he's a member of the NCSLI Board of Directors. Then we will head to Dr. Hans Arne Freisten from Euramet, the Western Europe organization in metrology. Dr. Freisten will talk on metrology for digital transformation. Dr. Freisten studied physics and mathematics in the Norwegian Technical University in Trondheim. He joined the JV, the Norwegian NMI, in 1987 as a metrologist in electricity and thermometry. He became head of the National Metrology Laboratory in 1992 and general director of the JV in 2015. Currently, Hans Arne is deputy director of JV, and he's the chairperson of Euramet. And finally, we shall listen to Dr. Claire Sondry from SIM, the Inter-American System of Metrology. Claire Sondry will talk on activities in metrology for the digital transformation within SIM. Dr. Sondry is the Director of International and Academic Affairs at NIST, the National Institute of Standards of Technology of the USA. She is responsible for the international and academic portfolios at NIST, including implementation of its international strategy, managing its foreign guest research programs and foreign visitor programs, research programs, and academic outreach activities. Her work includes providing liaison with government representatives, universities, and public schools. Claire was elected president of SIM in 2018 and re-elected in 2020. So now we can start with presentations. I encourage to the audience to write your questions in the chat sessions. You don't need to wait to the end of the session to write questions. So go ahead, please go to the presentations.
Firstly, I would like to express my thanks to expert group and task group members of FAIR Digital for their effort to organize this workshop. My name is Takashi Usuda, Director General of NMIJ. Today, I will represent the APMP and provide some snapshots concerning digital transformation among our member NMI. To begin with, let me introduce APMP briefly. Currently, we have 27 full members from Asia to South Pacific region. APMP also opens the door to other regional counterparts as associate members. So we also have 13 associate members outside of the region. Among the full members, there are 19 CIPM-MRA signatories. As you see on the map, we have very large area geographically. The development stage of member institutes are very diverse, from emerging stage to well-developed one. Our objectives, stated under MOU, are to develop a closer collaboration, to improve the level of metrology, to encourage traceability, to ensure that measurement standards are traceable to the realization of the international system of units, and generally reinforce the objectives of the metric treaty, and to take care of CIPM-MRA. So if the metric system transfers into digital world, it is also our scope of activity under APMP. However, of course, we have priorities in our work program. The essential activity are to coordinate and implement CIPM-MRA and to support quality infrastructure of member economies throughout the member institutes. We also establish and maintain initiative programs to support or to accelerate more specific issues. Such activities are reviewed at annual meetings. With reference to this workshop, APMP conducted a survey to collect information of all member NMI's DIs, totally 59 institutes, regarding their plans, activities, and challenges in the work relating to digital transformation. The questionnaire contains 19 questions, asking such as government policy, potential needs, DX status and concerns. Although the short notice, 15 institutes responded to this survey. Thanks for that. It was expected, but we have little responses from emerging institutes, which means under developing NMIs. This slide shows whether any activities concerning DX are undergoing or planned at the institute. 13 institutes, or 87% who responded to this survey, answered yes to this question. Of course, there are a wide variety of progress, from the scratch to conducting projects. 8 NMIs have already set up DX groups, web portals for calibration services, test reports, and database are covered within these activities. Activities transforming conventional data format into machine-readable data, such as digital calibration certificate, are also included in these activities. This slide shows stakeholders mainly considered in DX. The main drive force of DX is from industry, advanced manufacturing and transportation, energy sectors, with this portion 41%, QI bodies and regulators for national quality infrastructure. More than half NMIs intended to engage with stakeholders, but a few have been involved in the concrete activities. Some NMIs have issued non-paper certificates. The most important issue is resource when we do something new. This pie chart shows whether you have personnel working on DX. 2/3 of institutes have DX staffs in some extent. NMIs have scientists, engineers working on data science, computer technologies, and IT. One NMI doesn't have specialized personnel, but some of their employees have IT literacy. 8 NMIs have or to have a programs funding for DX. Among them, one NMI has received budget to set up metrology system online. We also asked priority of DX topics, identified as digital SI, digital calibration certificate, digitalized document standards such as ISO/IEC, traceable algorithm, remote calibration, metrology cloud. Digital SI and digital calibration certificate are prioritized in many NMIs. Many NMIs have not placed remote or embedded calibration technology at first priority but gave higher priority. Most NMIs agree to develop the most basic concepts, digital SI and digital calibration certificate in DX, first to develop more advanced applications. We asked expectations for APMP conducting DX. Identification of common interests on DX, coordination of efforts among NMIs, establish APMP guidelines on e-certificate, workshops and seminars to share the experience. Online workshop or seminars result in wider participation from members, and to set up focus group on DX. We also see from the survey that no concrete role NMI assigned yet. Digital calibration certificate is one common image among NMIs, but other concrete applications of DX are not clear yet. COVID-19 forced to work online, and many NMIs take this as a chance to promote DX. NMIs are facing difficulties regarding resources, budget, and manpower. To conclude my presentation, including my personal point of view, I would like to stress that we need a small but concrete or feasible model is needed. If we establish ground vision, we should identify stakeholders. We should specify values for them. Stakeholders like NMIs, of course, calibration laboratories, regulators, manufacturers, and users. And is there any other stakeholders? and expected benefits for them, and expected resources from them. What is the new business expected? We need more discussions to carve out a solid model of the future with DX. Thank you very much for your kind attention and for further discussion.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ndwakuru Mukufi. I am the CEO of the National Metrology Institute of South Africa. It is an honor for me to present this talk on AfriMets and the digital transformation on behalf of the chair of AfriMets, Prof. Dr. Mohamed Amer, who has fallen ill. I want to take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to wish Dr. Amer a speedy recovery. Let me start off by giving you a few African facts. The continent has a population of just over 1.36 million by February 2021. This is expected to grow to just over 1.5 million by 2030 and projected to grow to just over 2 million people by 2050. The continent has 54 sovereign states, and it is located in an area covering just over 30 million square kilometers. A few facts on connectivity on the continent. Mobile broadband is expanding fast in Africa. In sub-Saharan Africa, as an example, 3G coverage has expanded to 75% of the population from a base of 63% in 2017. Looking at 4G coverage, this has doubled to nearly 50% since 2017. However, the coverage gap remains the highest in the world, with 67% of those not covered by mobile broadband globally being located in sub-Saharan Africa. Internet connectivity on the continent is primarily carried on the mobile platform, with 9% of Central Africa and about 30% in Southern Africa using mobile internet. On the economic front, ladies and gentlemen, the primary driving force on economic growth on the continent is currently the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which aims to create a one African market, which will result in an increase in total export, an increase in exports intra-continental, an increase in exports to non-African countries, which will add just over $450 billion to the continent's economy by 2035. Ladies and gentlemen, it is obvious to note that digital technologies and digital connectivity will be important to support this ambition. Just a little bit of information, ladies and gentlemen, on the AfriMets, the Intra-Africa Metrology System. The RMO was established in 2006 from a sub-regional RMO called SADC-MEC in the south. Currently, the RMO has 44 member states that are located in sub-regions based on the regional economic communities of Africa. 5 members of AfriMets have signed the MITA Convention, and 10 are associate of the General Conference on Weights and Measures. AfriMet as a whole currently has about 619 CMCs registered in the key comparison database. As I indicated, the RMO is organized in sub-RMOs to aid the organization and especially comparisons of national measurement standards. The sub-regional RMOs do have hub NMIs in the sub-regions, such as NIMISA in South Africa, NIS in Egypt, KEBS in Kenya, and DEFNAT in Tunisia. This realizes the SI and then distribute the traceability to the NMIs in their sub-regions. AfriMet includes legal metrology, and this ensures excellent cooperation and collaboration between scientific and industrial metrology as well as legal metrology on the continent. The potential for digitalization on the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a huge potential for digital technologies to assist the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and assist networking and collaboration on the continent. NMIs such as NIS, NIMISA, DEFNAT, KEBS in Kenya are either participating in or planning digitalization of AfriMet's databases in preparation for the support of the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. AfriMet's members are mostly users of the digital technologies, although there are contributions to the development in areas such as remote and embedded calibrations. On digital certificates, working with the OIML and ILEC through AfriMet and AFRAC, the member states are implementing digital certificates on the continent. There is a strong participation in the fourth industrial revolution activities. AfriMet member states do participate in CIPM working group on data and digitalization activities at the international level, for example, with VAMAS. Ladies and gentlemen, that is in short the contribution of AfriMet and the activities that are being carried in AfriMet on digital transformation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Dear colleagues, I am pleased to greet you at this grand event. I'm happy to present EUCOMET vision of metrological e-infrastructure digital transformation. I will speak about how COMET view activities in ensuring the quality of measurement results, metrological traceability, metrological comparability, and metrological compatibility in the context of transition to digital economy and this industry 4.0. I shall start with the role of measurement in digital transformation economy. The first task is to eliminate barriers to digital transformation of economic sectors by developing an advanced measurements to improve robust and ambiguous representation of measurement units. Then, the increase in productivity and efficiency of complex measuring system and distributed sectors. In addition, due to increasing number and type of instrument used in the digital economy, we need the advance in metrology to meet evolving needs of new measurement areas. To realize all this, we need to make changes in the 4 areas presented on this slide, like legislative, methodological, technical, and organizational. Very preliminary direction of development are outlined here, which will change and be refined as we move toward the digital metrology. On the way to achieve the set goals, COMET countries are adopting their national legislation. In Belarus, Kazakhstan, Russian Federation, and Ukraine, and other countries, relevant law, decrees, and government decisions have been adopted already and are being adopted. When speaking about the challenges of NMI in digital transformation, the following can be pointed out as being the main ones. Firstly, more and more instruments require calibration and verification. As a result, the large amount of information is rapidly increasing. Secondly, the requirements for accuracy and metrological reliability of measuring instrument are greater. Thus, the advanced development of the metrological assurance results are required. Thirdly, intelligent systems or smart meters require a fundamentally new approach to standardization. Moreover, the transition from paper document management to electronic one requires the establishment of operating electronic documents management system. Finally, a reliable exchange of information via Internet, which is closely related to the development of hierarchical metrological e-infrastructure, has become especially important. To address the highlighted challenges, our top goals are machine-readable representation of measurement data, traceability, comparability and compatibility, and complete identification of measurement data based on the FAIR principles, reliability and confidentiality of measurement data, a reliable exchange of measurement data. When it comes to our objective, we may consider long-term storage and transfer of measurement data, uploading of new version of software for measuring instruments, remote comparison of measurement standards, instruments with embedded operating system, and the concept of thin client, reference software, reference test data, or even task, smart meter, monitoring, management, and maintenance of measuring instrument. Let's see what NMIs have to do on the way of the digital metrology. The current e-infrastructure of NMI is an intranet of one or more local networks or standalone personal computers, and some web services behind the firewall. It is clear that for security purposes, it is dangerous to organize the access to measurement standards from outside, since there is no general concept for security access. And now I would like us to overview the use of digital interface with a middleware called instrument elements. It has become an optimal environment to be used for effective performance of measurement tasks with the highest levels of measurement data transfer, storage, and processing safety, opening new opportunities to track measurements results and ensuring a high level reliability, integrity, and confidentiality to these results. It provides the following functional requirement: unified model of the measuring instrument, standard grid access to instruments, possibility of interaction between different instruments belonging to different institutions and virtual organizations. It should be noted that the instrument element can be not only a person, but also any application that had certain rights which are determined by an electronic or digital grid certificate. Here you can see how it works. Left figure shows a uniform model of instrument control. Right figure shows a flowchart describing the instrument integration within the grid. Finally, we can observe proposed future e-infrastructure of NMI. Just like slide 7, this slide shows NMI intranet, but here we divide intranet into the VLANs for security reasons. To protect our intranet, we see that instrument element is separate VLAN. Now we can give the access to instrument element from the outside without endangering our inner network. So the grid security concept will be responsible for the instrument element security in the internet. That is why we propose to make into account European grid infrastructure concept of grid computing. Let's see example. It has become necessary to transfer metrological data, particularly from the digital calibration certificate, into machine-readable format. First, such digital data must comply with the FAIR principle, have the properties of the traceability, comparability, and compatibility, and be digitally assigned to their complete identification. Therefore, we propose to creation of an electronic document management system for metrological activities based on the experience of the digital transformation of research infrastructures. In conclusion, for DCC data storage, we propose to use a ready-made data version, which already implements FAIR principles. Thanks to the interaction between European grid infrastructure and European Open Science Cloud, we can connect instrument element with the data version. We are proposed to complete this solution with PKI-based digital signature. The details of the technical realization and solution are outlined in the reference articles I quote into the slide number 8. Thank you for your attention.
Welcome all. My name is Hans-Arne Feuerstein. I'm chairperson of Euromet, and I will talk about Metrology for Digital Transformation, Euromet's vision and strategy. And the topics I will talk about is the Euromet strategy for 2030. I will talk about a European partnership on metrology, which is an upcoming proposed research program. And I will talk about the digital transformation. So Euromet is the RMO for Europe, and as other RMOs, we have the role of securing worldwide trust and acceptance of measurements for all aspects of business and society. We are an association established in Germany. Members are NMIs of 38 European countries, as you can see here, with more than 78 designated institutes as associates. In addition to the RMO basic core task, we also run the metrology research programs. The last 14 years, a total of 1 billion euro has been performed in research in collaboration between the participating countries and the European Union. And we don't do this just for the fun of metrology research, but in order to create impact by advancing measurement science for the good of business and society. So first, the strategy. It's under development and close to being finalized. There are some triggers and a changing context. One is the partnership I mentioned, where we are defining what is called an exit strategy. There will be no more such partnership later on. So we should become a self-sustained world-class European metrology infrastructure by 2030. Furthermore, there are several other triggers mentioned here. The list here is not complete, but the UN SDG, the EC Green Deal Initiative, the EC Strategy on a Digital Future, the European Industry Strategy, Health Challenges and Opportunities, the new SI with its associated technological developments and opportunities,
capacity building needs, and the development of European metrology networks, which are long-term structures within Euromet to support innovation, public policy, regulation, and a very strong stakeholder linkage is key. Here you can see the topics, the important topics that these cover. And the vision is for Euromet to be the leader in the development and application of measurement science, enabling Europe to be competitive, healthy, and sustainable through innovation. You can see the mission, which is about developing the measurement infrastructure to ensure its international competitiveness and recognition based on world-class R&D, to support policy decision makers where metrology is key, and to support our members. Objectives are derived from these. They are engagement of stakeholders, here EMNs are key. Further develop the cooperation in R&D, REF, the new program under development, to support quality infrastructure in Europe and international, to increase the influence and cooperation with European policymakers and national governments on regulation, and to deliver high value to members and associates. It's close to being finalized, and it should be presented for approval at the General Assembly of Euromet in June 2021. This is a glimpse of impact from the previous programs, research programs, quite substantial amount of work, cooperation, and results, including innovation directly measured in terms of turnover. The partnership on metrology, which is under development and has been for a while, is meant to last from 2021 to 2027, established by cooperation between the European Union and participating states under the Horizon Europe framework program. And the general objective of the partnership is to create by 2030 sustainable and effective system for metrology at European level that ensures Europe has a world-class metrology system for metrology competence and solutions for innovation and responding to societal challenges, and to support effective design and implementation of regulation and standards. So these are very much well aligned to our strategy, or vice versa. Things are changing and moving fast forward these days concerning approval process. We hope to have this in place in 2021. So a little bit into the general topics in digital transformation in metrology as we see it. It's about transformation in metrology services, our core business, if you like. It's about mathematics and confidence in data. It's about adopting open science for metrology, the key issue for this workshop, and connectivity and data quality in distributed systems. And we have defined a digital strategy, a sub-strategy, if you like, which has an overall aim, which is ambitious. Euromet wants to take the lead in the digital transformation of the European quality infrastructure. And we will work towards this through these objectives, is to set a framework for members and associates and enable us to work in order to achieve this aim. We want to facilitate collaborative R&D for digital transformation, and we want to develop links with peer organizations, external parties, other bodies of the quality infrastructure, and others to cooperate with. And the implementation we have so far, we have an interdisciplinary technical committee for coordination with a working group here, which performs its task as a sort of a think tank, specifically on digital transformation. We have dedicated projects in this technical committee for specific implementations and tasks under the coordination of the working group. And we also support and encourage the other Euromet technical committees and the Euromet EMNs for the field-specific expertise on the technical committees and for topics driven by clearly identified and coherent stakeholder input for the EMNs. So the working group, it's consisting of experts in this topic from Euromet members. It's led by Sasha Eichstädt, whom you have met. It manages projects, organizes communications, and organizes workshops, etc. And I can mention a few examples here on activities that has been going on or is going on. One is digital calibration certificates, where there is one MPeer project running called SmartCom. It's going to be finished this year, and there are a number of interesting results. And we have another internal project in Euromet in order to pick up the results of the research into implementation and coordinate this with the other technical committees of Euromet, so we can bring this up to use. And also in the area of open science and R&D management, several research projects have been performed under the previous framework program Horizon 2020 with open data since many years back. And we have also internal projects in Euromet to pick up the latest achievements for training courses in research data management and for project coordinator. In all our research programs, projects, the openness of data is a key issue, and we need to cope with that. So then some words on initiatives onward. Euromet is now a member of the European Open Science Cloud. We have a focus on data quality and metrology principles to be used for fair data broadly. And sometimes we say fair plus X, where an X could be traceability, or R, repeatability, which is of high relevance. We see what we call a competence paradigm shift in NMIs, and there is a substantial need for capacity building among all our members, the big and the small, the new and the old. We wish and need to have a strong cooperation with the other RMOs. So this is the right forum to say this. We are ready to cooperate with you even more. We need to deploy more resources and make them available for this digital transformation. This is by member NMIs, by prioritizing their own missions, and from Euromet side. And lastly, I would like to mention the next partnership on metrology, where the first call is already this year. But we want also prepare for digital-oriented calls and actions in this partnership in 2022 as a test bed, and most likely a broader call on digital transformation in metrology in 2024. More activities are underway as well, but this is as far as I will bring you now. So thank you very much for your attention.
My name is Claire Sondry, and I am currently serving as the president of the Sistema Interamericano de Metrología, more commonly known as SIM. It is my pleasure to be here today to discuss the activities within SIM on metrology in support of digital transformation. I'd like to thank the BIPM, Dr. Joachim Ulrich, Director of the PTB and Vice President of the CIPM, as well as the chair of this event, and the Conference Steering Committee for facilitating this dialogue among the metrology community and highlighting opportunities to engage our stakeholders in this important effort. I would also like to thank the chair and moderators of this session and the other speakers, my colleagues from the other regional metrology organizations, for sharing your insights on the work being done in your regions. SIM became a legal entity in 2016 and currently has 31 active member national metrology institutes. These NMIs and their designated institutes, or DIs, have a diverse range of capabilities, human and financial resources, responsibilities, and technical programs. A survey of our membership in 2018 emphasized the need to develop metrology capabilities in support of the digital transformation. A second survey, conducted in the spring of 2020 and focused on NMI efforts to support COVID activities in their countries, reinforced the need to develop and improve digital resources, capabilities, and services. In addition to the strong commitment and support of its membership, SIM has been very fortunate to have a long-standing support from external organizations. These organizations, like the Organization of American States, the Inter-American Development Bank, and the PTB, have supported capacity building activities in the region for many years. Two projects listed here, supported by the IADB, are focused on advanced technology areas. The newest, which has been approved and is expected to be implemented later this year, is on metrology for digital transformation to support health services in Latin America and the Caribbean and address measurement challenges associated with pandemics such as COVID-19. The goal of this project is to achieve new digital metrology services with a focus on health-related areas, which are adapted to the conditions of the region and its countries and deployed to address emerging technologies that have come out of the COVID crisis. A focus on digital metrology resources for national metrology institutes and designated institutes, SIM, grew out of a series of discussions and workshops over the past few years, beginning in 2018 as SIM worked to develop the proposal for funding consideration by the Inter-American Development Bank, which, as I previously mentioned, was approved in 2020 for implementation later this year. As SIM was developing this proposal, we held a workshop in Bolivia in September 2019 during the week-long events scheduled around the SIM General Assembly. This workshop featured a presentation on the IDB strategy for digitalization of the economy in Latin America and the Caribbean, followed by NMI reports on their efforts to address the metrology challenges associated with digital transformation. In addition to generating ideas for the project proposal for the IDB, this workshop prompted the establishment of an informal working group of interested colleagues from the SIM community. When the second workshop, planned for an in-person event in Buenos Aires in April, had to be changed to a virtual format because of the COVID crisis, this working group stepped up to the task and helped organize the event. This event attracted over 170 participants and was a great success, not only for generating a dialogue among the interested NMIs and stakeholders on the topics of digital transformation, but also for catalyzing this vibrant and active cohort of interested colleagues and NMIs within SIM. The workshop identified the following topics as priorities for the SIM region: automation of laboratory processes, digitalization and legal metrology, digital calibration certificates, metrology for Industry 4.0, and NMI's digital transformation strategy. The pandemic not only triggered the change from an in-person event in Argentina to a virtual workshop, it also changed the focus of the IDB call for proposals. And SIM, under the leadership of Dr. Hector Laiz, quickly worked to refocus the SIM proposal on metrology for digital transformation to address pandemic-related issues. The SIM Working Group on Digital Transformation continues to meet regularly, typically on a weekly basis, to implement the recommendations of the workshops. They have established 6 subgroups, each focused on one of the priority topics identified during the workshops. These subgroups provide a forum for participants to share information on their ongoing research and discuss areas of potential collaboration. Subgroup 1 includes 25 participants from 10 NMIs and DIs in SIM and is focused on sharing experiences in laboratory automation to define common areas for cooperation. Subgroup 2 is focused on legal metrology initiatives for digital transformation and includes 20 participants from 15 SIM NMIs and DIs. This group is surveying the SIM NMIs for their legal metrology initiatives and priorities. Subgroup 3 includes 25 participants from 15 national metrology institutes and designated institutes and is focused on digital calibration certificates. This group is benchmarking efforts currently underway across the region and discussing approaches to obtain digitalized data. Efforts focus on producing calibration records that are both human and machine readable. Subgroup 4 includes 13 participants from 7 NMIs and DIs in SIM and is focused on exchanging information and experiences in Metrology 4.0 to define projects in areas such as remote calibrations, dynamic uncertainty, and machine learning. Subgroup 5 includes 22 representatives from 11 SIM NMIs and DIs, and its objective is to build a shared vision about digital transformation across SIM, to share knowledge and to orchestrate projects of mutual benefit. Subgroup 6 includes 7 participants from 3 NMIs and DIs and is focused on developing the skills in the SIM metrology community to cultivate teamwork using agile principles, metrological knowledge, and the collaboration of national metrology institutes for projects towards digital transformation, with a focus on digital calibration certificates and a metrology cloud. All the subgroups will play a key role in the development and implementation of the new IDB project. Recognizing the importance of this effort and the strong commitment of the NMIs across SIM, in December 2020, the SIM Council approved the formalization of this working group under the SIM Technical Committee. This is now SIM Metrology Working Group 14 on digital transformation. The working group includes representatives of 20 NMIs in the region and is chaired by Hugo Gasca Aragon of SINAM, and Diego Copa of INTI is serving as the vice chair. SIM is committed to developing its capabilities in this important area, and we applaud the commitment of the members of this working group for recognizing the need to address these issues on a regional level. As noted before, this group meets regularly to not only share information on the challenges of the digital transformation, but to develop regional solutions. We are very excited about their efforts and continued contributions to digitalization and the NMIs in the Western Hemisphere. Again, I'd like to thank the steering committee and the committee organizing this session for the invitation to participate. I'd also like to thank the members of the SIM Metrology Working Group 14 on digital transformation for helping to prepare this presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much to all
Good
the
morning.
presenters for their excellent talks. Now we have 10 minutes for the Q&A sessions. I must introduce to Maria Lourdes Valenzuela from IEMTN Paraguay, who will help me to moderate the session. Thank you, Maria. How are you?
Hi, Fernando. I'm very fine, thank you. And you? Good morning, good afternoon to all. So we have some questions from the participants. So let's begin. I think the first question is for all the panel. Okay.
Sorry. Let me introduce to Dr. Maxim Shevanov, who is representing to COMET also, as Dr. Niesmakov. Dr. Shevanov is the head of the Legal and Theoretical Metrology Department of the Belarus NMI, and he chairs the COMET TC2, and he works on digitalization in legal metrology and trends of IT technologies. Good afternoon, Dr. Shevanov. And we have the possibility of having with us to Dr. Wynand Lowe, the president of the CIPM, who is representing AFRIMES in this session. Thank you to be here, Dr. Lo, and welcome. And now, please, Maria, you can start with the questions.
Thank you, Fernando. Hello, panelists, and it's nice to meet you all. We have some questions, and most of them are for all the panel, so I need you to raise your hand who can answer in a way to move on with the next question, please. Okay. The first question is, how do you think that the work of the different regions can be joined to collaborate and improve the digital transformation in all the world? So, can you raise your hands who wants to answer this question, please?
May? Okay.
Yes. Yes, Dr. Nirchakov, please.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Okay.
I think that most of participants here in discussion well know that we are already participate in joint committee of regional metrology organization and BIPM. In this event, it was established for the CIPM MRA purposes, and digital certificate, calibration certificate under this purpose. And we have a good platform to discuss this issue. But as I remember, several years ago, when JCRB was in NIST, Washington, D.C., we tried to organize between RMO not only purpose and not only issues in line with CAPM MRI. Maybe we should continue our efforts in this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. We have another question for all the speakers. To move toward digital transformation requires an entire infrastructure and invest in different aspects. However, the needs budget, the involvement and stakeholder, among others, are different in each RMO. From your point of view, what must be a strategy to balance this difference in order to have a functional global digital transformation in metrology?
Yes, I can go, have a go, Maria.
So we have a... Okay. Go ahead, thank you.
Thank you. I think to follow up on the answer that Pavel gave, we know that there's a big difference, for example, between Euromed and Afrimed and perhaps SIM as well. In the first place, I think a good strategy is to define what we can do together through the BIPM or at the BIPM. And I think the workshop this week will give us a lot of information that we can start to define, okay, what are we going to all do together at the BIPM? I think the next thing is that we can work together as RMOs, as Pavel already said. For example, Afrimeds work very closely with APMP. Many of our members are also associate members of APMP. So Afrimeds can join with APMP, and we can try to actually balance the activities better and to learn from APMP. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to the another question. How could the BIPM boost the effort of the different regions?
I can give it a little try. I believe, as was mentioned by Wynand and others also, that this kind of initiative we have now is a good tool. I think that there are some of the aspects that we need to develop where we have a strong need for harmonization, and this clearly should be done sort of in this framework of the BIPM, and we should also join forces when it comes to capacity building. Maybe not in such a broad event as this, but on more specific items. I think we can share a lot of knowledge, maybe share training, etc. That's at least two items for this.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Frosten. We have another question from Rafael Soares Oliveira to all the speakers. As a way to change, improve culture, should the digital transformation approach be an obligatory topic or requirement to future research programs and project goals of all areas of metrology in the RMOs and within the NMIs? Again, it is for every presenters. So someone wants to answer? Claire, please. Thank you. So, Claire, could you speak? Oh, we cannot hear it. Okay, please. Some other speaker can answer the question.
I think that Hans could better to talk about this possibility, because he mentioned in his presentation about the Euromed activity in these fields. Hans, could you give some examples of Euromed activity in these fields, please?
Yes, I could. Of course, we also discussed this when we are preparing and planning for this new research program, how to include digitalization. It will be included in many of the projects, even though the main topic of projects are different. And we also plan to have some specific calls directly related to digitalization. We don't think that such a mandatory, obligatory requirement to have some digital transformation into everything is the right way to go forward, but at least to emphasize it wherever it's relevant and natural. That's our approach from the Euromed side.
Thank you very much, Dr. Frosten. So, Claire, can you add something?
So I did not hear the previous speaker's response, but I think that I don't think that I would make it mandatory to be in every project that we engage in, because it might not be relevant to the particular activity we're pursuing. And I think we need to consider it when we're thinking about new projects, but I would not make it a mandatory component.
Thank you very much, Claire. So we have time for the last question from Enrique Gaitan to every speaker. Do you consider that the advancement of the digitalization in metrology services may affect other components of the quality infrastructure that have not implemented policies to address Industry 4.0? Someone wants to answer?
Yes, I can give it a quick go. I think we heard this week already from the presentations from the other international organizations of the QI, such as ISO, ILAC, OIML, that I think all components of the quality infrastructure at the moment are busy with policies on digitalization. And I think what we as metrology are listening to is what are the requirements that everyone also need from us, metrology, as the basis basically of the whole process. And metrology then need to put in place the concepts for the quantities units, the digital concepts, the digital SI for them. So yes, I think a short answer to the question from my side is it's a process that we all work together. So I don't see that specific problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Wynan. Well, I think that we are on time to in the end of the session. I thank to all the presenters, and I thank to the audience by the interesting question you asked. Of course, unfortunately we have not all the time for answer all the questions, but it's important to note that all the questions will be sent to the presenters, and they will be answered, and they will be shared to all the audience by email. Sorry by the technical matters in the at the end of the session, but I think anyway that it was a very interesting and useful session for everyone. Thank you, Maria, and thank you all the presenters.